I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. Well, I want to tell you that yesterday I reported on an earthquake situation, 7.8, I said, magnitude off the west coast of New Zealand on the 22nd. Well, two mistakes there. I was trying to remember by memory. Shouldn't have done that. It was on July 15th, not the 22nd, and it was 7.6 instead of 7.8. But nevertheless, there was this earthquake off the southwest island of New Zealand that pushed the island a foot closer to Australia than it has been before. Also, by the time we put up the picture of the world with all those earthquake circles on it, I noticed a red one, which means that by the time we put it up, there had been another earthquake. And so it was 2 days with no earthquakes, all yellow circles until the picture was downloaded from the internet and put on there yesterday afternoon to go up on the website. And so we've now got more earthquakes going on. So it's possible that the 2 days of no earthquakes was a non-entity. I don't know. But I wanted to let you know. I keep you up to date. Here's something very important from Israel today. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered a halt to the construction of 900 new apartments in eastern Jerusalem Jewish neighborhood of Pisgat Ze'ev, following his meeting with Special U.S. Envoy to the Middle East, George Mitchell, on Tuesday. That according to a report on Israel's Channel 10 News Wednesday night. Pisgat Ze'ev is a large neighborhood that is already home to tens of thousands of Israeli Jews. But Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister, has been under tremendous pressure from Washington to stop building there and in all other Jewish neighborhoods and towns and areas claimed by the Palestinians. Up until now, Netanyahu and other top Israeli officials have responded that they will not halt the natural growth of Jewish settlements in Judea and Samaria, and that they totally reject any demand that suggested that Jerusalem was not entirely under Israel's sovereignty. Well, so much for Benjamin Netanyahu's steel backbone. He caved in to U.S. pressure. Meanwhile, on the 9th of Av, this reported July 29th yesterday, about 5:30 Eastern Time in the United States, it is said that Dateline Jerusalem, and this, by the way, comes from WorldNet Daily, marking the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, about 1,000 Jewish protesters today read the biblical book of Lamentations in front of the U.S. consulate in Jerusalem to protest against the Obama administration's demand to freeze Jewish construction in the eastern sections of the city. Of course, the construction has been halted. This says tonight marks the fasting day of Tisha B'Av, on the 9th day of the Hebrew month of Av. It commemorates a series of tragedies that befell the Jewish people all on the same day throughout history. Most significantly, the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem, which occurred about 656 years apart, but on the same calendar day. Jewish tradition calls for the reading of the Book of Lamentations. We once did a series on the Book of Lamentations that noted that each verse in chapter 1 is alphabetic. The first verse begins with an aleph, the second verse begins with bet, the third verse begins with gimel. And then in chapter 2, the same arrangement. In chapter 3, the same arrangement with a couple of verses turned around. It's a fascinating study. But when you get to the 5th chapter of Lamentations, there is no alphabetic arrangement to that chapter. Oh, the meanings of the letters are there, but the letters are not there. Referring to, of course, Jeremiah is writing the book of Lamentations. Beautiful exposition of the total destruction of the city of Jerusalem and Solomon's temple. This says the Obama administration is following in the footsteps of Rome. One of the Nadia Matar, the organizer of this protest, told WorldNet Daily, the Obama administration is following in the footsteps of Rome. He is trying to do what the Romans did, passing anti-Jewish decrees at the time of the destruction of the temple. And she goes on to say that they recite the Book of Lamentations outside the U.S. consulate this year because the pressure of the world is once again against us, especially from Obama. End of quote. The Knesset member Arya Eldad, who addressed the crowds at the protest, exclaimed, quote, if Obama is ready to sacrifice Israel for his interests in the Muslim world, we are here to tell him that it's against our interests and we will not commit suicide to please Obama. Speaking to WorldNet Daily, Eldad added, quote, I suggested to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tonight to understand that if he will surrender to Obama's pressures, that he will lose his cabinet. Netanyahu must not take American dictations. Both male and female protesters sat on the lawn across from the U.S. consulate, many brandishing Israeli flags for the reading of Lamentations. Afterward, the group, protected by the Israeli police, marched around Jerusalem's old city walls, concluding the protest just adjacent to the Temple Mount. They said, we surrounded the old city walls like a bride goes around her groom at the marriage canopy during the Jewish wedding, and the couple pledged their allegiance to each other. We are married to the land of Israel and the Temple Mount.